Hey Vibers, it's your boy Kai, and welcome to the Vibe with Kai Nerd Panel. We're here to nerd out about some nerdy stuff, as always. It's time for us to review the latest entry into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Black Widow. It's finally here after 15 years of not being here. It was just released in the movie theaters. So where does this movie rank within the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Let's find out as this nerd panel recaps the movie for our favorite moments, our least favorite moments, talking points, and of course, our vibe score. This review contains spoilers, so if you didn't see the movie, you probably should stop watching this and go see the movie because it's pointless for you to watch it. Unless you have no plans on seeing the movie, then that's another story. But you should go watch it right now. Available in movie theaters and on Disney Plus for $8 million. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for weekly videos that are aimed to make your day just a little bit better. And follow me on your favorite social media platforms where I'm always posting things that'll help you do good, feel good, be good, and live a good life full of good vibes. Let's meet our panel today, guys and gals. Starting off with the wonderful, who makes his rare appearance today. He stops in whenever it fits into his schedule, you family man.
Only if it's out at the end of a season. We have to get a full season before he'll grace us with his present. He needs a lot to say.
That's right.
Listen, we stand a daddy. Okay?
With the wonderful Michael Anthony Cray. What's up, man?
This is such high praise from the Nerd Squad. You know, I just had to come. You know, we had our date, Kai. It was wonderful. I missed it after almost 2 years, full years since our last man date to the theater. To see it in person, it was amazing.
I made the first move. Just let the record show I made the first move.
He did. Boy. And it felt nice. So
I want to just point out that Michael has highlighted his hands about 6 times in that intro. He did like a hand performance.
I'm so happy to be here.
This is all for Jared. Right here, my friend.
I love it. Speaking of, we're sitting here with the vocal superstar who's working on his album because he's awesome like that. The wonderful Jared Million.
Yeah.
I don't know why I added a French little thing to it. I don't know why, but I did it. Hi, Jared. What's up, man?
Hi. How are you? It's good to be back.
Well. It's nice to see you. Jared and I talked on the phone. What was this, Saturday?
It was yesterday morning. I had to get it out. I had to get it out. I was like, there's no way that I could wait until tomorrow. I had so many feelings, and Kairos and I so rarely are on the exact same page when it comes to like reviews. And then with this one, we are. So I was like, we just have to talk it out now.
He's like, can I call you? Can I please just call you right now?
It was just so serendipitous. I was like, me and Kairos have the exact same feelings about this movie. We have to talk about it.
Yes. I love it. Also here, gracing us with their presence today. Look at that beautiful human being. What are you gracing us with today, Jonathan V. Polanco?
You're talking to Jackie.
Oh, I'm getting to her.
Hi, I just was feeling a little Loki vibe. I also got a lovely new eyeshadow palette in the mail today, so I thought let's just go all the way in. I don't understand why people are complaining. It's not this difficult to be green and you look this good. I'm just saying.
Flawless, my friend, flawless.
I can't. You are always beautiful. Are you doing well?
Beautiful.
Yes, doing super well. Super happy. I'm gonna go on a work trip in a week and a half. I'm going to go to New
Where are we going?
For 2 weeks. Atlanta, Georgia.
Ooh, that's where my people
are. You are going to have fun in Atlanta, honey.
I hope so. I'm
never been I've never talked about it on this podcast, but Atlanta is hot Atlanta for a reason. I love it.
I'm gonna get some food. I want to go to the Civil Rights Museum. It's gonna be fun.
Yes, I love it. And last and certainly not least, this beautiful specimen that is keeping us all in line, Jackie Beltran.
Hi, everybody.
My queen. I bow down to this woman. She was flexing all over the social media platforms today. Or this week, being like, "Look at me, I'm pretty cool."
Yeah, I've been living my best life and just praising myself lately because I've been wearing nothing but messy buns and leggings since the panorama happened. So, taking some time for me.
I love it, and you look fantastic as always. Well, my friends, we're gonna get right into this because there's a lot I'm sure that we need to talk about here. Obviously, we had the pleasure of all watching Black Widow that came out this week. We have some thoughts, so we're actually going to start off with things that we liked about the movie. I'll start. First and foremost, I'm a big fan of Florence Pugh. I've always been a big fan of her. This movie just cemented that for me. I think she was the best part of the movie. I cannot wait to see what she brings to the table in regards to the MCU, because obviously we're going to be seeing her again in Jared's Hawkeye series, which I'm sure he's super excited to watch. I also liked the movie. Felt like, and Michael said this to me, after the movie, and it was true. It felt like a Jason Bourne movie. And I like the Jason Bourne movies. And so that was fun to watch. I like the espionage kind of, the plan all comes together kind of thing. I like the hand-to-hand combat. Like whenever there was like scenes when there was like hand-to-hand like fights, especially between Natasha and Taskmaster, like the first fight scene between those two, I thought that was fantastic. It's a shame we didn't get more of that, but we'll get into that. And I didn't mind the last third of the movie. I know some people were kind of picking it apart, like the final action sequence when everything's like skydiving and stuff like that. It had a little Fast and Furious feel with the type of stunts that was happening, but it was fine. I enjoyed that side of it. So Michael, I'm going to start with you, my friend. What did you like about the movie?
What did I like about the movie? Well, I mean, you summed it up pretty well for me as well. I share a lot of what you were saying. I know, we saw it together, so we talked about this already. So I think we're kind of aligned on that. Yeah. But I just got to start with.
Look at her. Look at her.
So pretty.
She is. I think she might be my new crush, Mike.
Oh, she's been there for me for quite some time, my friend. So she can just hang right over my shoulder for as long as she wants.
You'll hear no complaints from me.
But no, Florence Pugh is a fantastic actress. She deserves all of the accolades. She's definitely obviously being set up for a bigger role in the universe here, and so I'm happy to see that. Brilliant actress. I agree that the first 2/3 of the film were kind of, I wouldn't say slow, but they just felt different from a lot of the other Marvel films, and it did feel very choppy for me. But the third act, once we finally got to the Red Room, it started to tie things together. I really, really liked the entire sequence between Scarlett Johansson and Ray Winstone. I was totally getting Stryker vibes from Ray Winstone in this film. He was an awesome villain. Just not in terms of the physical stuff, but the mental stuff, and the acting chops were off the charts there. So I really appreciated that.
That goes to show one of the reasons why a lot of people are willing to come over to the MCU and work, because they get these like meaty acting roles, yes, like where they can like kind of delve deep into a lot of things that they probably normally wouldn't get to do, and make a shit ton of money from it. Sure.
And I guess the last thing I would say, Kai, is that I was expecting a villainous turn, right? Because it's just something that you expect from a movie like this. So I was expecting one of the four to kind of turn villain at some point. And so when it happened, and we thought that Rachel Weisz's character was going to turn villain, and then as it turns out, she was not, and it was kind of this plot between her and Natasha. I felt that felt refreshing to me. It was fun. It was a cool little moment there. So, and I appreciated that because it wasn't something that I was expecting. So that's definitely something that's up there on things that I liked as well.
Absolutely. I'm gonna go over to Jared. Jared, what are your thoughts on the movie? I know you and I talked a lot yesterday, but I'm curious. What are your thoughts?
Sorry, I was really just hypnotized by Michael's hands, but so I have a lot of opinions. I know, so unlike me, but as far as like what I liked, I want to be straight up, I loved the movie. I thought it was a great movie. I definitely would never I think it's a great movie. I think something that I had to release was that I think that it doesn't read like a typical MCU movie. And my prediction, and I will really die on this hill, I don't think any of the upcoming films are going to. I think from here on out, that format is almost going to change. So I think that like with the Eternals and even with like everything that's coming out, I think we're gonna get in Shang-Chi, we're gonna get like a different kind of vibe. I also have completely taken back what I said about Florence Pugh. I think she was wonderful in the film. I thought she was phenomenal. I get a little weird when people's stars burn really bright, really fast.
Mm.
It's like so it's like this person's in this, and I feel like that happened with Jennifer Lawrence a little bit, and then like
Definitely.
That's the exact person I was thinking of when you said that. Yep.
So I get like a little nervous about that because it's almost like they're getting jammed down our throats, and then all of a sudden it's like Florence Pugh, Jennifer Lawrence, like overload. But I did love her in this, and she's obviously brilliant in Midsommar, so I know that like she's great. I loved her. I love Rachel Weisz in everything. I think she's just so like captivating and beautiful. I love the family dynamic between the four of them. There's things I don't like. I guess we'll get into that. I think like with I loved that. I loved that it was, you know, I love that like Natasha was getting her flowers. You know what I mean? I'm like, it's that if I removed my distaste for the fact that they took so long to make it, I'm still happy that she got it because I, having always been a fan of Natasha Romanoff, even before these movies came out, I think that Scarlett Johansson really just does it very well. I think she really gets like the combination of like being cold and bitter and like having that, but also being relatable and warm. So I think that I loved that. I thought that visually it was really cool to look at. Although I felt it went on about 10 minutes too long, that prison scene, I thought visually was beautiful. I thought like watching that was really cool. And those white outfits were so sexy. Like I loved all of that.
Mhm.
I definitely have, when you ask the what we don't like question, I definitely have opinions. But as far as that, like I would say really the dynamic between the four of them and Florence were my favorite things about the movie.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'll switch it over.
Oh,
To,
wait,
yeah.
one more thing. Sorry.
Yeah,
And Mila Jovovich's daughter playing young Natasha. That's Mila Jovovich's daughter.
I did not know that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's a scene, if you watch it again, which you probably won't, Kairos, because you watch movies once, but if you watch it again, you like, Charlie and I were watching it again last night, and there's a moment in that kind of credit thing in the beginning where they were showing what they went through in the Red Room, where she's crying. And if you pause it, they're like twins. It's like, you can't miss it. Like, they're like twins.
I did not know that. I did not know that was her daughter at all. At all. Oh, she's a great actor. I remember in Fifth Element, her in Fifth Element. Fifth Element's one of my favorite action movies of all time.
Yeah, I mean, it's iconic. That's why
Oh,
Bruce Willis is one of the hottest men ever to exist on the planet Earth.
Do you think to this day, do you feel the same about him to this day?
Yes, I enjoy me a silver daddy, as I would call it. I enjoy me a man over the age of 50, 60. Listen, if he can swing it, he can hit it. So that's what it is. There you go. As long as everything still works correctly, you can come on over here to Jared's house.
I love it.
We got pills for that, girl.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Especially when you got men like Bruce Willis that keep it all tight. Yeah, I'm like, what? Who am I? Who am I to turn away Bruce Willis?
I love it. Let's go over to Jonathan. Jonathan, what did you like about the movie?
Girl, action packed. Lord Jesus, it didn't stop. Like that was the thing that was so great about this film was, I mean, it gave you your moments where you could like kind of breathe. You could go to the bathroom every so often. You got a little bit of backstory. You had cute interactions between sisters and father and mother, you know, like family interactions and stuff like that. But my God, the minute that you caught your breath, boom, something else happened. Another explosion. The roof caving in and dozens of widows swarming in and running and going and shooting and action. And then that whole last half, I mean, I feel like that was the only part that I was just like, I understand why people kind of maybe talk negatively about it. Because again, up until that point, there was an action scene every 5 minutes. Like literally, if there was more than 5 minutes of talking, it was going to be like a 15-minute action scene, and it was going to just go nonstop. That was definitely like one of the highlights for me.
I was concerned, John, because I think you were the first person in our group to go see it. And yes. I was saying to Mike, I was concerned about whether the movie was good or not, because you went to go see it, but you didn't say anything to us.
Girl, she keeps it tight. All right.
I was concerned. Typically, even after we watched Loki, we were like, "Oh wow," or something like that. And then we'll hold off on saying anything until we know that everybody in the group has seen it. But you didn't say a word. So I was out to having a drink with Mike, and I'm like, John hasn't said anything. He thought last night, and I'm curious, like, is this movie good? Is this movie actually good?
I also have PTSD. I have given my fair share of spoilers to the world, so I've just got to the point now where I'm just like, you know what? I'm not going to say anything. If
I think like a 24-hour. I think like the 24-hour rule is fine. I'm like, after 24 hours, like you have to be responsible for your own thoughts. You can't be like, I'm so upset that they ruined the movie. I'm like, it's about Black Widow. Surprise! That's who it's about.
Surprise. Yeah, definitely that.
Right.
Spoiler alert: she dies.
Right.
That's why I was nervous because usually Kai and I see like the first showing on opening night so that we can't get anything ruined for us, and we had to wait 24 hours this time because I had a conflict on Thursday, and I was even nervous. I said, "Oh, you could go without me. It's okay."
Aww. But he wanted to wait for his man.
I did.
If I and Michael make one more comment about this date that they went on, I'm gonna literally choke myself.
No,
I was scared.
Let them have a bromance. It's
okay. I work.
Fine.
Jared, you are welcome to join us, my friend.
Yes,
Jared, we already said me, you, and Jackie are gonna go on a 3 J's date. All right, we're gonna just like blow it out the water. Get a big old popcorn to share with Black.
As long as it's nowhere near Philadelphia, I am down.
Girl,
no, we're not going there. We're not going there. Don't think I didn't see that thing you posted this week. Also, by the way, don't think that
about the robot.
Don't think I didn't see that shit. Jackie, what did you think of the movie?
I think this movie was a lot of fun to watch. It was 100% entertaining. I think it was funny at parts. I think there was a lot of action involved. I love the Red Guardian, like for who he is. Like he's the buffoon of the movie, and I just love a good buffoon. We've all given Florence Pugh her flowers. The first time I ever saw Florence Pugh was Midsommar, and she was fantastic in that. And then in this one, not totally different. Well, yes, totally different, but no, it was really nice to see her in this. I haven't seen her in anything else. So like, it's one of those things where I've seen her in Midsommar, I've seen her in this, and I'm kind of excited for her to be in more, not in the sense of like the Jennifer Lawrence syndrome, but I want to see her in roles that like kind of challenge her range a bit and see what she can do. Like that's exciting.
Right. I want to give another shout out to, and this is somebody that I think a couple people might have, including myself, thought that this guy would be somewhat connected to the Taskmaster, but I'm going to say his name wrong, but he's on what do you call it? That show on Hulu, Handmaid's Tale. O.T. Fagbenle, is that how you say it? He's the guy that played a Scarlett's kind of like connection, like would get her.
Oh, loved him.
Yeah. He's on Handmaid's Tale, and he's always been great, especially this past season on Handmaid's Tale. And I liked his role in this movie. What I didn't know until afterwards is that his character is actually somebody that's pretty prominent in the Marvel world, and pops in like every now and then for Marvel characters and assist them in some fashion. I think his name is the Agent in the Marvel world. So I'm
like Marvel's version of Q.
Right. So I'm hopeful that we are going to get him in other things as well, because I liked his vibe. I just like how chill he was. He's not a good guy or a bad guy. He's like who's gonna pay me the most, but he still has a soft spot for Natasha, clearly. And I liked their platonic. Really, I'm glad they didn't try to explore anything there.
Thank God. Yeah,
that would have been weird. Yeah. Okay, cool. That's all I have to say. Did I just render you all speechless?
I'm like, we were all really ready for that one.
We're focused, girl. We're ready.
We were like, oh, we had a moment of silence for Natasha's romance. We were like, oh.
She's had a couple of like close run-ins that were like, are they going to do this? Like I remember, obviously with Bruce Banner in the MCU, we're like, okay, maybe they're going to do a little something. And then I'm pretty sure she kissed Captain America in, was it not Civil War? Was it Civil War?
Yeah, no, it was Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
Soldier.
a distraction, and she even said,
Right.
"Don't read into
Right,
that."
but like there was some chem there. Like not just on the kiss, like them throughout that entire movie. There's some chemistry.
Listen,
They made
okay,
it-
well then there was some chemistry between Bucky and motherfucking Sam. All right,
But there was the most chemistry. The most chemistry is Bucky and Cap. You'll never tell me that.
You thought those wings were flapping, those cheeks were also clapping, bitch. All right?
I'm dead. I am dead. I can't.
Put it on a pillow.
They
Here
made
we
a
go.
point with
Check
Natasha.
out Kyrus's merch
Please just turn Jared's reaction to that into a GIF pronto, please.
Jackie, what were you saying?
No, they made it a point with Natasha in Age of Ultron, that whole bar scene.
Mhm.
You could watch that scene a few times and see vibes with multiple characters in that scene, and that was on purpose. It was kind of hinting at Black Widow's flirted with everybody in the MCU. Like comic-wise, she's seen them all. And that's no hate. You go, girl. You taste every wine available. But they hinted at that in the movie.
In the comics, she has a relationship with Red Guardian. She has like a romantic relationship with Red Guardian.
Also has a relationship with Winter Soldier that everybody loves.
Did she sleep with Tony Stark? Like, yeah.
I read this whole thing actually the other day that initially there was a scene where they addressed the Banner and Natasha thing in Endgame, but it like the movie was so long and it was just like if you remember like when they see each other, like when they first see each other and she like kind of gives them a look, it like expanded on that scene. Like it's apparently somewhere on a cutting room floor, like they filmed it and everything. And they just said like, there's so many loose ends they have to tie up in Endgame that they just felt like it wasn't that important to the story.
Well, maybe we can wait for the 4-hour Zack Snyder supercut
Yeah.
of Endgame. So speaking of things that we didn't like, let's talk about things that we. By the way, when we were watching the preview to Suicide Squad while we were sitting in the movie theater, I turned over the mic. I'm like, there you go. There's some DC for you, buddy. I know you're excited.
It's okay because it's okay, Mike, because Kyrus did share with me about that end credit scene, the comment that he made, knowing how I would.
Mike, what did I say? Tell Jared exactly what I said as soon as that happened.
He said Jared's going to crucify me on this for he said I'm in for it. He said
cameos. They're never gonna have something big.
I'm just.
Nope. He predicted that this would happen today.
It's okay. I'm glad we spoke yesterday because we got it out of the way. I was like, no,
yes.
Okay. I wasn't even happy, but sorry, it's not my turn. Go ahead, Kyrus.
Let's talk about the things that we did not like about the movie. I'll start here. I was not a fan of the Taskmaster twist. I was not a fan. I was a little disappointed, not because it was a woman. Like, let me just get that out there now. That wasn't my issue, so don't cancel me. My issue is that that's such a cool character.
Yes.
It's such a
Thank
cool
you.
character, and I'm a little sad that that's all we got out of her, because I feel like there was so much more that could have been explored there. That, I mean, maybe they'll, retract it in the future if they bring her back, I guess. I don't know. But, like, there was so much potential there with Taskmaster that I feel like we didn't get. I would have loved to see more hand-to-hand combat with her. She had a great fight with Scarlet in the beginning, and then we didn't see her fight again until Red Guardian, which they kept cutting away from. And I was like, I want to see it. I want to see her fight. So I wasn't a big fan of that. Some people were comparing it to the twist in Iron Man 3. I'll disagree with that. I thought the twist in Iron Man 3 is a different level than that. This wasn't this wasn't bad like that. I will say that. That was I didn't like that at all.
Sure.
I wasn't the way the movie ended. I wasn't a big fan of oops. Oh wait, hold on.
All about Kairos.
Everybody look at me.
How do I get out of that? Hold on.
You have to switch.
Oh gosh, I don't know how to do it.
I know.
Pandemic for the past year and a half.
He's like, I don't know how to get myself
What
out.
do I do?
I can't figure out how to get myself out.
I can't.
Working.
He's like, I'm the center. I'm the host.
I can't get out of
So what do I do? I'm stuck here on the main screen.
I can't.
I don't like attention. Not me.
I can't. I also was not a fan of the movie ending. I was hoping for a little bit more of a either a goodbye for Natasha, and or it to like more clearly lead into what happens next. See, the issue with this movie is that the stakes were low because we know that she survives, because we know that she dies a couple weeks later in Endgame. So the stakes were low, but I felt that it would have been cool to have a little bit more of a connection there with Endgame. I'm sorry, with Infinity War, but we didn't get it. I wasn't a big fan of that. And I think Jared alluded to this as well. He also said this to me yesterday. I think it was just like 15 minutes too long. I think there was some things that they could have cut out. This was, I think, like 2 hours, 15 minutes. I think this movie could have easily been like an hour, 52 hours. And I would have been like, okay with that. But that's those are just some of the things that I didn't like. John, I'm gonna start with you. What are some things you didn't like about the movie?
So for me, I think there's three main things I didn't like. Number one, I didn't like that they all felt kind of like superhuman, like, because like, yes, they were manipulated and they had to do all this like training and this fighting, but like none of them had super soldier serum. And like there was a distinct fight when after the one that we've seen in the trailer, they're on the falling little pillar thing, right? And Natasha falls from like 4 stories, and hits 5, like pinballs down and hits 5 different things. And you're telling me this bitch literally was like, huh. Landed straight up, knees, didn't even bend her knees just locked and went down like this. And I was like, excuse me.
So she is in the comics. She is a mute. She's not a mutant, but she does have powers in the comics.
A variant of the super soldier serum, but she's not Captain America.
Yeah, but at the same time,
like
they've never added that into the canon of the MCU. She's always just been like a secret agent. We didn't even go into that part of her backstory. Like, if they even just said like, all widows are injected with this crazy serum that's
just a little something.
They're a little something. It's derived from the super soldier serum. Then that would have explained everything, and I wouldn't have even looked twice at it. It literally was a 4-second rewrite that anybody, even friggin' Rachel Weisz's character, could have just said it, because she was the architect of the Widow program, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So it was literally a writing error. Shame on you for that, number one. Number two, I was not a fan of Rachel Weisz. Was actually, Jared, don't crucify me. Rachel Weisz was the weakest of all of them, to be honest. You know, I think Scarlett Johansson was like phenomenal as always. David Harbour was like phenomenal. He really drew you in. His accent came and went. You know, like it was very much what's it called, a Wanda Maximoff type of experience.
That's what you won't do. That's what you won't do.
Florence Pugh.
That's what you won't do.
She was phenomenal from start to finish. Every single word out of her mouth, I was just like, I want more of her. I will watch her constantly. Rachel Weisz's character, she was the one that I was like, I do not like your accent, girl. I will watch you in everything and anything. You are an Oscar winner. You're probably the most decorated out of this group of people right here. And you are the weakest. You're the one that I feel like you're phoning it in, you know? So that was kind of the one area that I didn't like. And I think the one one thing that I mainly didn't like is with Captain Marvel, you knew like we're gonna get a second one. Something's gonna happen. Something's coming from this. It was very evident that nothing was coming from this. Absolutely nothing. And even all the way up to the end, I was like, they pushed it back a year and a half. They didn't give it to us for free on Disney Plus. They made us wait. They made us pay for it. Whereas I literally watched it, and that's why I didn't say anything, because like the only thing I kept thinking of in my mind, even up until literally the end credit scene, was there was literally no reason that they waited. There was no reason. They should have given it to us for free on Disney Plus. They should have said, thank you for everything that you guys have done. Thank you for all of the love and support that you've shown for the past 10 years. We love all of you so much. We really want to hear you come in the theaters and see this, but we really need you. We all need something right now to look forward to. Here's a gift from Marvel. It's not like they don't have enough goddamn money, you know? They should have just given us Black Widow for free on Disney Plus last year. And because again, it moved nothing forward. I have no idea what's happening. Yeah. There's the only thing that is kind of in my mind is, all right, Dark Avengers or something like
Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts. Yeah. Okay, I'm not familiar with the characters, so as long as I get to see more of Florence Pugh's character, I'm here for it. But again, like even the way that it ended, it literally just felt like they were saying bye. Like she walks off to the jet. Like that was. I was like, all right, like why did I see her for 2 hours? And then that ending credit scene, though, let me tell you, when she was at the grave crying, like that got me. I literally even said like it was gonna be a lower score, but that last like end credit scene, it literally bumped it up a whole point for me. So, but again, it took us 2 hours to get to that point.
Right.
So yeah, that's
Jackie, what did you not like about the movie?
I think a lot of you hit the nail on the head of my biggest things. Like Taskmaster was a huge disappointment for me because I feel like in this case, she's she, which totally fine. I don't care about that. But the character is consistently sold short in every major mainstream anything that the character is in. Any video game, it's like on the first level and you beat his ass like nobody's business. Or in this movie, like you couldn't kick her butt like nobody's business, but she got zero film time. I wasn't crazy about the costume, but that might be the classicist in me. I want to see like the super cool, like all white, like caped thing or something near it. I thought the tone was kind of weird. I know you guys said it's like totally different from a Marvel movie, but I disagree. I feel like it had a campy humor that was specifically put in there to make it cohesive to all the other Marvel movies. Because this was an espionage movie that talked about psychological torture, and we have another character like that. We have Winter Soldier, who is very, very serious, and he's been psychologically tortured for years and years and years, and so has Black Widow, but there was like a certain like humor I felt like that took away from it, like either we're gonna be this or we're gonna be that, and that felt like really choppy for the storyline. And yeah, like Natasha suffers from what I like to call Batman syndrome, where the fans make Batman a god. He is a man. He is not a god. He cannot pick up certain things that he can pick up. He cannot pull off some of the things that he pulls off. But his powers get bigger and bigger and bigger because his fandom is so huge. And Natasha suffers from Batman syndrome, where she's a woman, she doesn't have superpowers, she can't pull off these things that she's being pictured to pull off, but her fandom is so huge that her powers go up with her popularity. So suddenly, even though we don't understand that she has a super soldier serum, me as a person who read the comics, I'm like, maybe we're up in this shit. Like maybe we're just like assuming that she has the strength of Captain America. Because if you go back to the original Avengers, when they're fighting the alien race, there's I don't know what you want to call it, like a little ship or a cruiser, if you will, that she jumps on one arms and then boom, that should have dislocated her shoulder. So
ripped her arm off.
Yeah,
like
are we just assuming that she's a super soldier? Or they never put exactly how strong she is, and that's really tough too. But that's a problem that came back, that was all the way back from the first Avengers. So I liked it. It was entertaining. I think the tone was really weird, and I think the way that they conveyed their characters was really confusing.
Right. Good points. Let's go over to Jared. Jared, what did you not like about this movie?
Obviously, like, since we started this panel, I've always said that I feel like it is too late. I think that it should have come out 5 years ago. I think that I said this to you, Kairos, like, I would have probably liked it. I would be so much less critical of it if it came out where it fits in the continuity, I think I would have enjoyed it way much more if it just came out then. I don't want to get canceled, but I have a huge issue with canceled again, but I have a huge issue with like the Taskmaster thing. I think it's really, really, really weird. I think
One part of it.
So I feel like they intentionally, in the first scene with the children, make you think that that little girl is Natasha, the blonde girl. I felt like in the beginning they were not explicit, and I think that the girl playing Natasha is intentionally made to look almost ambiguous a little bit, because I thought she was a little boy for like a, and I feel like that, I felt like that was intentional. And with that being said, I felt like two of those things in one movie. I felt like with the Taskmaster ending up being a reveal that it was a girl. My issue is so much of Natasha's guilt is this red on her ledger, is this like everything that she has to atone for. And then it's like, okay, so are we erasing that? Because she didn't kill Chekhov or whatever his name is, and she didn't kill the daughter. So it's like, what is she really, what is she worried about? You know what I mean? Because we're not being told. I think, Kai, you and I talked about this. I don't really understand why we've heard about Budapest for 35 movies and now we're gonna like hear about it again. We can't
like just show us damn Budapest or give us a damn series on it. Like,
yeah, I think honestly, like the movie, and I don't know if this is just because we've gotten Loki, Falcon and Winter Soldier, and WandaVision. The movie felt to me like it might have read better as a series.
Yeah.
And I might have enjoyed it more like 10 episodes of this as like her send-off.
I think I said that, Mike. Did I say that to you in the?
You did.
Yeah, I said that. I was like, this
you
was
did.
Interesting as a series, like just like the other one.
Yeah, and I think what's frustrating to me is when it comes to this Taskmaster thing is I think if they were going to reveal that it was a woman, it maybe should have happened earlier, because Taskmaster's never a woman in the comics. So it's like, you're not going to tell me it's like this, like, oh, it's all these women fighting, where for 80% of this movie, we all thought that was a man. They refer to him as a man. Natasha or Yelena says, oh shit, he's back. You know what I mean? And I get that, but it just felt like a weak cop-out at the end for it to turn into it being his daughter. I thought that was really weak. I also thought, like, so are we saying that Olga is a mutant because, or she's genetically modified? Like, I don't.
Her powers weren't really clarified.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, is it compute? Like, because I know they said like they have the thing in the back of her neck, but they didn't really confirm how.
Like a lot of conversation about like Spider-Man when it comes to this like genetically engineered versus born with this mutant X gene. So it's like Spider-Man technically has mutant powers, but he's not a mutant. So it's like, I'm wondering if someone like Olga fits. That was very ambiguous to me. I think it was 45 minutes too long. There's a lot that I would have taken out. I think I would have enjoyed it if it was like quicker. Still don't know how she meets up with Cap. Still don't know how Wanda and end up working with them. Still don't know how any of that ties in. So I'm like, you're going to give me 2 hours and 45 minutes of this, but then all we're going to see is her in a blonde wig at the end, and we're supposed to just assume she breaks Ant-Man, all of them out of jail? What are you talking about?
What was that breakout like? My God.
And then also there's that whole scene where like when they first catch her, so that I loved when she gets away from Ross in the beginning, where it's like that whole thing. But even then he's like, we have Clint, and it's like, you do? Because I'm pretty sure like in 2 movies later they say that they let Clint go live with his family in North Dakota. So what are you talking about? Like, that was confusing to me. I think that like my score is pretty high. I won't give it yet, obviously, but my score for the movie is pretty high. I don't not love it. I think it was great. I've watched it twice now already, and I'm gonna watch it again today just to like really like digest it. But for me, it's like it felt like, so sorry, Michael, but it felt very much like when we saw Zack Snyder's Justice League, when we saw the Snyder Cut, we were like, oh, this is cool. We love this. This is fun. But it's nothing that it wasn't like, holy shit, it's a brand new film and I'm learning all these new things. That's almost exactly how I felt. It felt like they were re-releasing something they had already released. And I left with more questions than I did going into it. Because like I said, the most interesting thing to me about that time between Civil War and Infinity War is exactly what I said. How do Wanda and Vision end up in France or wherever they are, London? How does Natasha meet up with Cap? We didn't see any of that. So it's like, not that I don't care. Also, once again, I said this to Kairos the other day, I felt like having her have this family unit almost invalidated that whole speech that she does in Endgame about how she's never had a family. And I'm like, yes, you did, sis. Now we know 2 years ago you had a family. And finally, I felt like I like Rachel Weisz. I don't know if it's just like a gay boy thing where like I grew up watching The Mummy.
The Mummy.
For me, like Rachel Weisz is always like that character in The Mummy. But with that being said, I love David Harbour. I think he's a wonderful actor. I wish that Hellboy would have been handled better because I think he's the perfect Hellboy. I felt like he was wasted in the film. I felt like we got him in the beginning and then we got this weird kind of thing. And then he's like this like drunk old man, which is fine. But it's like, Red Guardian's a badass. Like he's like the Russian Captain America. So it's like, he should be, I would have loved flashbacks. You know what I mean? Let's see what was happening then. It felt like there was a lot that they presented us with more questions, I think, than they did answers. That's
That's fair. That's fair. Mike, what did you not like about the movie?
Man, I you know, it's tough to go last here because I feel like this nerd panel is pretty aligned. You know, I feel like everything that everybody has said is something that I felt and something that I probably would have mentioned right now. I came here to this panel today, you know, to say, Jared, you were right. It's not that I didn't want to say that. It's not. it's really not that I didn't want to say that. It's not that
it's like, Jared, you were right.
I'm going to sit on my hands, Jared.
So am I.
Man, I walked right into that. All right, so, but yeah, I didn't want to feel like Marvel made a mistake or did something wrong by making us wait this long. I was really holding out hope that there was a very clearly defined reason why they didn't give us this a year ago. And I left the movie feeling like, you're right. There was no reason why we did not get that reason. We could have gotten this a year ago. They could have released this on Disney Plus, and I would have been just as happy. They could have given this to us.
It probably would have been better, and on top of that, they wouldn't have had to push everything else back.
Right,
you know,
right.
And reposition everything. I don't understand why they did that.
Well, to your point, John, I feel like the reason why, to Jackie's point also, that the movie felt so choppy was because I bet you a lot of stuff was left on the cutting room floor. A lot was changed over this past year because of the reshuffling that had to happen. So we probably didn't see things that we would have seen if the film came out a year ago. They probably did reorganize and change and shift things. And there is a reason, I think that is the reason why it felt the way that it did, because it was supposed to kick off phase 4. So this was supposed to bridge, you know, everything. And it didn't, because now so much time has passed. We've learned so much more. And so going back felt funny.
But not to cut you off, but it's also like, I agree that it should have kicked off Phase 4, but like people have been calling for a Black Widow movie for like 10 years.
Yeah.
So it's like you made Captain Marvel, Doctor Strange, Ant-Man. You brought all these characters into the tapestry of this universe while she was just existing. I love Scarlett Johansson. I love Natasha. I almost feel like they shouldn't have made it. I'm glad they did, but I almost feel like it's almost like it's like performative in a way.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Sure. No, I agree. I agree with you, Jared. You hit the nail on the head, buddy. She has such a strong following, and she is an original Avenger. Like this, it just felt strange. The placement, the timing, everything just felt funny after seeing it. I didn't want it to. I was hoping that it wouldn't, but it did. And all of the other things that everybody mentioned are things that I was going to touch on. You know, the Taskmaster final fight, you know, with it just being like, oh, she takes off the mask and then gives her the dust, and now she's free of the mind control and it's over. And it's like, after she just fell all that way, chasing her, pursuing her, like, you know, and it felt like it was leading up to some epic, you know, combat fight, and then, you know, 2 seconds later, it's gone. You know, that was something that bothered me.
The same
you know,
thing that happened in Batman or Dark Knight Rises when with Bane, where we get like this like really cool. I thought Bane in Dark Knight Rises was one of the best parts of the movie, to be honest.
And the best part of them.
but like at the end, there was it just ended. It was like, oh, that's it. So let me also go on record, because I know a lot of people are curious how it actually did at the box office, because this is probably the second movie outside of F9, which was awful, by the way, which I saw in the
I didn't even see it.
Yeah, and that's coming from a Fast and Furious fan over here. But so this was one of the first movies to open back up at the box office, and Black Widow has made $215 million worldwide this weekend. Broken down, it's $80 million at the domestic box office, $78 million at the international box office, and over $60 million in Disney Plus Premier Access around the globe. So yeah, it made over $215 million worldwide. So that's not bad for. I think they said that's number one.
I was gonna say, is that the highest since COVID?
Yeah, that's the number one in the pandemic era. Yeah. I'm trying to see. It says, even with Black Widow coming in lower than industry weekend expectations, and we'll have more on that later, the MCU title easily repped the largest domestic box office opening in the COVID-19 pandemic, and the largest domestic opening since Star Wars Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker in December 2019. So it made some money. It made some money, which is good. It probably, I think, I said to Mike, I think, or no, I think I said to Jared yesterday that I think if this was like a normal non-pandemic release, I think it probably box office wise would have probably done the same as Ant-Man and Strange. Like I feel like it would be around that. I don't think it would have hit $1 billion anyway, but
I would challenge that.
Scarlett Johansson really has she's had a really illustrious career, because you have to think like she was already like a movie star before she was ever Natasha Romanoff. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So it's like she was, I would say, probably more famous than any of them. Like even Robert Downey Jr., I would say she probably at that point, because he had trashed his own career at that point. So I think like she was definitely like huge. She had such big movies before this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could challenge that. I could challenge. I think because I feel like Gwyneth Paltrow up to that point, Ayn Rand 2 had a pretty good career.
I mean the Avengers. I don't mean like side characters. You know, I mean like of like the main 4 or 5 of them. I think that she definitely like had the most consistent at that point. Like, meaning she was, in my opinion, the most famous at that point to join this franchise. Because even Chris Evans was not that huge at that moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, wasn't he in Push in Fantastic Four?
Push, not another teen movie.
He came out in like 2005.
Fantastic Four. Come on, that was.
I would argue that he had quite a bit under his belt. He might be equal.
Y'all, I love being right. I promise I'm right. So
and you can also argue Mark Ruffalo had a lot under his belt at that point as well.
But he was okay. I know I'm right.
He said, okay.
I know I'm
right. So,
I know
okay,
for a
so
fact I'm right.
a couple quick hits here, and then we'll give our final scores. So just a couple quick answers. We'll go around the clock real quick. Was this a big push for Disney Plus? Yes or no, Mike?
No.
Okay, Jackie.
No.
Jared.
He
No.
left. Oh, there he is. Sorry.
John.
What do you mean when you say big push?
So I'll give I think this was a big push for Disney Plus because we got like number one, the post credit scene set up Hawkeye, which is on Disney Plus. It features a character that's what's her name, Val.
Yeah, Valentina.
You know, I feel like because the next what else is there to do after this movie? Yeah. Like with these characters, the only thing they set up was a Disney Plus series. Mm-hmm. So I think this was a big push for Disney Plus. John,
I agree. Honestly, and it was funny too because I saw it in the movie theater on Thursday, and then Friday when I woke up and just was kind of thumbing through Disney Plus, every Black Widow appearance was at the top of the scroll. Like they let you know Black Widow is out. Like, and I was like, God, they really.
I don't want to disappoint. I don't want to piss off Jared any more than he's already. But it does seem like it's setting up like a Thunderbolts, Dark Avengers, type.
No, I love that. First of all, I'm not going to be mad about the Scarlett Johansson thing because I'm right. But it's okay.
For the record, I didn't say a word. For the record, I said nothing.
But regardless of being right, like you're not going to tell me B movies like Not Another Teen Movie and the Fantastic Four that flopped are going to be as famous as Scarlett Johansson.
Fantastic Four did not flop.
The Silver Surfer didn't flop, Kyrus? The Silver Surfer didn't flop?
No, it made, when it comes to making
they weren't good movies.
Right. Like if you may not have loved the movie, but those movies made bank.
They did.
As I previously stated, I know for a fact that I'm right.
Oh,
and so, but I'm cool with the Thunderbolts. I'm cool with all of that. I don't care about the Young Avengers. The other two I'm good with.
There you go.
I don't need that. I honestly would have a hard time continuing watching the MCU if we did the Young Avengers.
It just reminded me. It's starting to remind me of the Valentina thing. It's starting to remind me of the Nick Fury appearances very early on.
Yeah. We're definitely going to get more of her without a doubt. They're obviously setting her up. The next quick hit. I thought this was a really good question that I saw somebody ask. They said, if this movie wasn't part of the MCU, like say it was just its own thing, would you have liked it? Yes or no? John?
I don't think I would have liked it as much. Yeah. I probably would have enjoyed it. It'd probably be one of those movies that if it was on something and I just needed something to throw on in the background while I'm doing stuff, cleaning, whatever. Yeah, I would have enjoyed it, but I enjoyed it more.
Jared, if this wasn't an MCU movie, would you have enjoyed it?
Yeah, I love Scarlett Johansson in an action movie. I love Lucy. I think she's great. I love, as inappropriate as it was for her to be cast in it, I do like Ghost in the Shell as well. I think she's as inappropriate as it was for her to be cast in it. If we're just talking about the movie itself and performance, I love her in this kind of movie. I love her in the Nanny Diaries, which was a huge came out way before the Avengers. I love her in everything she does.
Got it. Jackie, would you have liked this if this wasn't an MCU movie?
I would have felt the same way as I did if it was his own thing as it does now. I thought this movie was fine.
Right.
And as its own thing, I thought it would have been fine.
Right. Mike, would you have liked this if this was an MCU movie?
I would have. I thought it had a good deal of. I thought it had everything. I thought it had. They all had their moments. She had her moment with each one of the characters. The scenes were great. The writing was great. The direction was fantastic. The visuals were stunning. It reminded me of like I said, the Jason Bourne movies. Salt comes to mind as well.
I love Salt.
Yeah. So yes, I would have.
Got it. Okay, so let's give our final scores here on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being and 10 being yay. I give it a 6 out of 10. I thought it was pretty much just par for the course. I don't think in the test of time this movie is going to be remembered too much, but it wasn't a bad movie. Mike, what do you give it on a scale of 1 to 10?
I give it a 5. I give it literally a C. you know, just straight down the middle. Just for how I, you know, have been mentioning previously, you know, it was really good to see Scarlett Johansson get her own film, but I really wanted it to mean more, and I just feel like it didn't. And so I think that cast a shadow over the rest of it, unfortunately. So that's why it's right in the middle for me.
Got it. Jackie.
Yep, right in the middle. 6 out of 10. It's fine. I have no interest in watching it again.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine.
Jared, what do you give it?
It's like hard. I want to like, in my heart, my first answer is like a 7 out of 10. But I think that like that's like just because like I love the MCU so much, and like I love the fact that like she got it. I think if I was being like genuinely critical, it would probably be like a 5 or a 6 out of 10.
That's fair. John?
Again, it was originally a 6 out of 10, but that ending scene with the sister at the grave, man, it just bumped it up the whole point for me. So it's definitely a 7. I think I enjoyed it more than everybody else did.
That's fair. And that's funny because, like I said, I was really concerned because you didn't say a single word. After I was like,
she don't give spoilers, girl.
I love it. Well, there you have it, Vibers, our recap for Black Widow. What did you all think of the movie? Let us know in the comments down below. And be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for weekly videos that are aimed to make your day just a little bit better. And follow me on your favorite social media platforms where I'm always posting things that'll help you do good, feel good, be good, and live a good life with good vibes. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. To my panelists today, Jackie, Jared, John, Mike's hands. Guess what we're getting this week? We're getting the final episode of Loki. Excited. So excited. I'm gonna send you a video after we're done here that I think encapsulates how I feel about theories. And I want y'all to watch it because I think he does a better job at explaining why we shouldn't over theorize like we are doing.
But what's wrong with over theorizing?
There's nothing wrong. No, and he says that. There's nothing wrong with coming up with these theories. However, what we can't do is judge the series based off of our disappointment in a theory not coming true.
I think that's super fair. I think that's really fair.
Yeah.
I think we can have a whole panel about how I feel like the TV show Lost kicked off all of this for nerd fandom. That show like was the king of people just giving their theories, and the theories actually being somewhat better than what actually happened in the show itself.
I'm a huge Lostie, so that was a show back in the day. So well, friends, thank you so much for hanging out with me and for watching. Everybody that watched and all that, be sure to come back and join us again in the future. Thanks for watching. As always, God bless and good vibes. Bye.